Hi everyone, this is Clint from Persuasive Evangelism, and I just finished reading this book, Unearthing the Bible by Dr. Titus Kennedy, and it says 101 archaeological discoveries that bring the Bible to life. I went to a apologetics conference in Seattle last December, and Titus Kennedy spoke. He went over archaeology in the Old Testament and then archaeology in the New Testament. It was really fascinating, and he mentioned he was coming out with a book soon, so I've been waiting for it, and it was released last week, so I ordered it and got a copy, and I've been reading it for the last few days. So it's a great resource. I'll show you the chapters. So each chapter is about 2 pages long with an image of the artifact, and then it will have some information at the beginning that says date, the date of it, when it was discovered, the period in the Bible, key words associated with it, and then Bible passages, and then each section ends on a Bible verse as well. It's in chronological order, so it starts with Genesis, creation, the flood, Moses, Exodus, Abraham, goes into the Judges, the Kings, all through the Old Testament into the New Testament. So it's really fascinating, and it's a good reference book where you can just go flip through, find something that you're looking for, and that gives you some great information. So I was going to go over a couple of these in the Old Testament and a couple in the New Testament that I thought were interesting. I could have go over a lot more, but I want it surprise for you if you get the book. So number 19 is the poetic plagues. So this is fascinating. It's an ancient text written by a man named Ipuwer, and it's a poetic lamentation addressed to the All-Lord, who is typically understood to be the sun god Ra. So this could be the Egyptians' perspective of the Exodus when all the plagues struck Egypt and Moses said, "Let my people go," and led them out of Egypt. So this is really fascinating. So I just want to read one paragraph from here. It says, "Passages in this poem, such as the river being blood, blood everywhere, plague and pestilence throughout the land, the grain being destroyed, disease causing physical disfigurement, the prevalence of death, mourning throughout the land, rebellion against Ra, the sun god, the death of children, the authority of the Pharaoh being lost, the gods of Egypt being ineffective and losing a battle, and jewelry now being in the possession of the slaves are all occurrences in common with the Exodus story." So all of that happens in the Bible, and this Egyptian poem talks about it too. So I thought this was very fascinating. Basically, the Egyptians' perspective of what happened in Exodus. So that's one of them. The next one is number 22, Wandering in the Wilderness with Yahweh, the Nomads of Yahweh. This was discovered in Sudan, and it's hieroglyphic inscriptions mentioning the land of the nomads of Yahweh were discovered on the walls of 2 Kingdom Egyptian temples pillars in Sudan. Currently, these are the earliest known texts that contain the name Yahweh, the name of God in the Hebrew Bible. So after the Hebrews left Egypt, they wandered in the desert basically as nomads for 40 years, and then as they conquered the promised land, they were still nomadic until they basically settled down in that. So I think this is fascinating. This could be references to the time of the Hebrew people wandering as nomads in the desert, following their God Yahweh. So very fascinating. So next one, I'm gonna jump all the way to 81, and this says right here, Pontius Pilate the governor, the Pilate stone. So Pontius Pilate was the Roman official who basically sentenced Jesus to be crucified. He thought he was innocent, but he had all the pressure from the crowd and so on. So he said, you can either crucify Jesus or this prisoner Barabbas, and the crowd chose Jesus. So this is a reference to Pontius Pilate. The date says around AD 26 to 36, and there's 2 artifacts that are known directly connected to Pontius Pilate. In a staircase near the theater of Ceresa Maritima, they discovered a monument stone that's basically referenced Tiberium, Pontius Pilate, prefect of Judea, dedicated. The inscription, dating between AD 26 to 36, refers to the Roman politician with his name, his title, and dedication to the reigning Empress Tiberius. And then another one, they found a Roman type ring bearing the name Pilato, which was analyzed and finding published the Greek letters spell Pilato, equivalent to Pilatus in Latin. So 2 references to Pontius Pilate. And then the last one is 83. I like this one. Jesus artwork in Rome, the Alexamenos Graffito. I first heard this last year when I was in Oxford. When the class I went to mentioned this graffiti on this wall. It's on Palatine Hill in Rome, and it dates from AD 90 to 200. So if it's AD 90, the last apostle John was still alive, to 200. So this was about one of the first Christians, and it might be the very first portrayal of Jesus, but in someone that is making fun of Jesus. So Alexamenos must have been an early Christian, and the artwork, the graffiti scrawled on this wall, shows someone being crucified on a cross, but with a head of a donkey, making fun of Jesus, with a person down below raising his hands up at the person on the cross, praising him. And the graffiti says Alexamenos worships his God, so basically the God on the cross. So this could be the very first depiction of Jesus, but not in a flattering way. But basically, someone was making fun of an early Christian. The verse that Titus ends the chapter with is 1 Corinthians 1:23, which says, "We preach Christ crucified, to Jews a stumbling block, and to Gentiles foolishness." So whoever was making fun of Alexamenos thought what he did was worshiping was foolishness, but it's the truth in life and hope that we have, eternal life with Christ. So those are just a few, but there's so much good stuff in here. This is gonna be a good reference book I'll keep looking at. So I totally recommend this book, Unearthing the Bible by Titus Kennedy, and it's available on Amazon. So take care, everyone. Good night, and God bless.